Yodelay, 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 yodelay. Hello friends, in one of my more recent videos, I spoke about rewiring my brain, then we wrote up on procrastination and shot that in the face. Unfortunately, their homegirl, Perfectionism, has broken in my back door and is holding me at gunpoint. Stay tuned to find out how I plan on getting out of this situation and ultimately slitting her throat. All great stories start with the backstory, so let's learn about perfectionism. Who even is she? I identify perfectionism as an obsession with not failing or existing in flaw out of the fear of rejection. What are her origins in my life? Well, perfectionism, as I know her, was born after I began to realize my behavior and just who I am as a person in general can influence how people react to me. As a kid, I could tell when people had positive and or negative reactions to me. The feeling of being accepted for being me, that felt good. And the feeling of not so much. I was mildly obsessed with the feeling of being accepted. Why? It felt rejecting when I wasn't. Everyone has a need to be loved as they are. So when you constantly have people reject that, especially the same traits over and over again, it can be heartbreaking. And it can feel like something is genuinely wrong with you. I didn't have enough confidence to reassure myself of myself, so I would look to other people to do it for me. The result, it was me indulging in traits that the world loved and abandoning the ones that I felt the world shamed. And sometimes even presenting a false image of myself, all so that I could be liked by people. It did even more damage to my already frail self-esteem. So as I started losing myself to seek acceptance, I had faint memories of the person I truly was, and I couldn't play the character I thought people would like well enough. So the crowd I pretended to fit in with, nor the crowd I might actually fit in with, felt right for me. I didn't know where I belonged. I just knew I wanted to belong somewhere. On an emotional level, I felt like I was out of control of my own life. It felt numb, like I could never be accepted by anyone. Eventually, I learned to push myself away from people to avoid the pain of rejection. Isolation brought me closer to my true self in some ways, but it didn't remove the perfectionist tendencies I had. It made me more concerned with what myself thought about myself in an overly critical way. It also encouraged me to alienate traits within myself. As I looked to groups that were heavily influenced by those traits, I sought to be wholly that. So, for example, I was depressed and I loved black clothes. So at the time in my life, I also tried listening to metal, cutting, and following the dark aesthetic even more than I already did. And I hated all of those things. I actually do love dark clothes though. And I still wear them every now and then. And the dark aesthetic's pretty dope. But it's not my main fashion profile like I tried to make it out to be. The feeling of wanting to belong somewhere, it shows up in multiple areas of my life, including work. When I'm working, I'll be in that zone. I like to give everything to it. I'll say, oh, my work is my life. I'll center my entire being around my work, and I'll find my sole purpose in existing in it. When I work, it's me wholly accepting me. It's me wholly being me. Everything that I do in my work is allowing myself to indulge within myself. And I become overly dependent on that. But, I guess somewhat understandably. Not surprisingly, the same thing happens when I become more spiritual. I tried to do the meditation thing. I started eating only plant-based and abstaining from desserts, sex, masturbation, TV, music, social media, and all outside influence, basically. I got heavy into tarot, manifesting, and self-improvement. I do enjoy those things, but I abandoned my personal spirituality to fit the image the spiritual community says that I should fit. And I let it become wholly me instead of what it really is, just a part of me. The desire to belong manifested is giving absolutely everything and diving headfirst into it. This worked for a good minute, but in the back of my mind, the thought that God might hate me, it started eating me alive. It was difficult to abandon the truth I had in my heart, that Jesus, he's real, because I'd felt that loving energy, but all the things I've been doing were against the Bible, and I love those things too. As a bisexual woman, this is one of the reasons I left Christianity to begin with. I felt God hated me, but more than ever, I wanted his love and acceptance. I battled heavily with the confusion of my connection to God. I didn't have full confidence in my own spirituality, so I went back and forth with extremes, following in rebellion, but favored the side that asked me to reject myself. I wanted to be appreciated, loved, and seen as worthy by someone I felt hated me. What does that say about my personality and how perfectionism manifests itself in my life? The things that reject me, I pull closer to, is people-pleasing. This also happens in my personal relationships. I find myself more attracted to people who make me work and fight for their love, criticize me for who I am, or misunderstand me on purpose. It's like I want to prove to them I am worthy because I need other people to define my value for me. Someone not liking me, that is a huge shot to my ego. I cannot have that. Everyone has to like me, and I'll do anything to make sure they do, even if the person isn't a great person themselves. Of course, I see red flags. Of course, I know when I'm forcing a relationship, or at least in the back of my mind. But to save myself from the relationship, I'd have to admit I was less than perfect in my own dating preferences. So instead, I force things to work because of the time I've already put in, or just because I can't be wrong. The victim mentality when I had a role to play in the foolery is so strong in this one. I point the finger and feel like the world is working against me. Oh, poor me, without acknowledging my own shortcomings. Not to say I'm on some she-devil shit, but I'm not an angel neither. I've destroyed relationships out of insecurity that I can't be loved by projecting my own insecurities on others. I nitpick at little things, I get controlling, I assume the worst with no evidence, I demand people respect boundaries that I never create, yet position them to push my limits. I expect a mind reader and get angry when they can't, and when it's all said and done, I point the finger yelling, "You don't care about me." The way they hurt me is valid, but what's the outcome when I can't admit my own part in the destruction? The message is clear. I am holier than thou. I am always right, and I am never wrong. I have certain ideologies and beliefs. One, for instance, life should be easy. As a woman that has to stay on guard while she sleeps, I must say, my life is not easy. I can come up with 1,000,000 reasons as to why this moment in time is not as easy as it should be, according to my philosophy. But a part of me wonders if it's only an excuse to not be wrong. I'll admit, I do still struggle with this. Because my reality is opposing my desired one. But does that actually mean that it's invalid? Or could it mean I'm transitioning into that reality? But in that same way, if I had to go through this transition to begin with, is that by default a denial of it being easy? Or maybe I'm killing this reality with the transition, and from this point forward, it is easy. Or maybe this is just a level of comfortable that I do agree with as easy, without actually knowing that it's easy. But then I wonder, why does my definition of easy have to be anything outside of me than what I already feel? Well, because if I fall short of my manifesting ability to create the perfect version of reality, it means I again have a flaw within me. And as a perfectionist, I cannot exist in flaw, or at least I can't acknowledge it. So what does that mean for me as a perfectionist? I'm refusing to take on the God role in my own life. I'm allowing life to happen as it happens instead of creating it. Have you ever heard the saying, everything happens for a reason? Well, what if that reason is because we accept things that we don't want? Because when we deny trouble and deny the fact that things are hitting the fan, we lose focus of what the solution could be. Admitting it and denouncing that things fall short of our desired reality. I want to talk about this more in a different video, but for now, let's understand this. Fear of assuming responsibility over our own life could be the result of perfectionist tendencies and choosing to deny fault. Overall, it's just a toxic mindset that works against our personal growth. If I can't admit when I'm wrong, I shift reality to make myself right. It's an awesome superpower, but it's a sucky way to utilize it, especially when I'm letting right be in my personal opposition. We already know how I feel about right and wrong. It's all subjective. But when getting involved with perfectionism, I blur the lines of my personal truths with the world's. So I'll literally lose my mind trying to decide right versus wrong. So I'd like to share a quote by my bestest friend, Madame T. Realizing we could be hella wrong about everything and doing whatever you want is being woke. Get comfortable with the idea that the things you want to be reality may not be the reality you currently live in. Not accepting of it, just comfortable with it. Meaning allow yourself to acknowledge the presence of it, because it does in fact exist. This can be done in relationships, finances, spirituality, our personal faults, all of the things. Tonight, as I'm recording this, I'm at a moment in my life that I need to evaluate the reality of my relationships on a grand scale. Late February, early March, I was at a realizing month in my life. I not only fear a gaslighting, belittling, breadcrumbing, passive-aggressive relationship, I view them as the only thing to exist. I know this, but I haven't internalized this. I haven't healed this. I've avoided it. I'm fine with pushing people away when they do things instead of clinging. Or at least I'm getting better at it. But I'm only putting a band-aid on a wound that has cut me so deep. I view God as a narcissistic person. And all of this is fine? It's not. I need more than a band-aid. I need open heart surgery. Otherwise, I could wind up being alone forever because I've never learned to release my reality. Instead, I only acknowledge it exists. So, after acknowledgement, I have to move forward and openly admit, yes, still without acceptance, that I am openly seeking the reality I'm living in, even if I don't want it. The saddest part of this is because I have only been exposed to so much hurt. It's the only thing that I believe in. It's the only thing that I think that I can receive. It's all that I've ever had. I feel it's what I deserve on the deepest level. When I speak of love, it's because it's most comforting. Everyone I love has made me feel that way. When I receive it, I assume it's a genuine version of love. The gaslighting, the breadcrumbing, the passive aggressiveness, the manipulation. Even if it hurts. Have you ever heard someone who doesn't like to be objectified by their body say, you know they love you when they want you so bad they can't stay away? Women have told me this. A man shows his love by breaking your boundaries, by making you feel reduced to your physical being? Or has every man in your life done that to you, and now you accept it because you assume it's just their nature, despite how shitty it makes you feel? Major disclaimer, not all men value the physical body over substance of a person. There are humans like that, period. But if that's not what you want, the sea is full of people that will respect your boundaries. They may even long for you physically, but value the relationship and just you as a person in general enough to wait for you. Personally, I have a habit of choosing men that try to make me feel less than, make me smaller, as I said. Not up front, of course, usually very underhandedly. The guy that challenges everything I say, smugly goes off on tangents that undermine anything I've shared with them. I have to call out the beliefs that I identify with at my core. Call out the ones that I no longer want to subscribe to. And then I have to figure out what I actually do desire, what I actually do want in my life. To release perfectionist tendencies, I have to learn to admit I fall short of a lot of things. I have to learn to admit that I'm doing some things wrong. Even with knowledge, I'm doing things wrong. Even knowing that I shouldn't be doing things, I still do things wrong. I still fall short of not listening to my intuition. I still fall short of not taking my own advice. I have to be willing to openly admit to myself and accept that I'm falling short. And I still have to love myself even with that. I have to come from a place of understanding with myself. I have to respect myself despite being less than perfect. I have to learn to be okay with being less than perfect. Lupita Nyong'o has a quote that I love so much. Life is about, and I'm about to quote it loosely, life is about trying to be perfect and accepting the fact that you will never be. The quote, it was so beautiful to me. Maybe it was so beautiful as someone who is a perfectionist and an aspiring ex-perfectionist. Because that is the goal. I do want to be perfect. I do want to be seen as enough by someone. And maybe perfect is the only reason that I'll be able to get there. But to be comfortable in the fact that I can never get there, no one can get there, that is a blessing. So I want to challenge all of us to start doing things that make us feel less than perfect. And I want y'all to challenge yourself to do anything creative or anything just fun or whatever that you've never done, and share it with me and the Soul Society on my soul site. All you have to do is go to my website, the Soul Site, and become a member of the Soul Society. You sign up, and from there, I'll communicate with you and give you the steps on how to become a member. You can get qualified to become a member within 24 hours. And when you join as a member, you join my little secret clique. You become a Solcialite. And that's where we connect, where us humans get the opportunity to be human and embrace our flaws and embrace our shortcomings. But not only that, embrace our wins and embrace the things that we're so amazing at. It's just a community of love and of connection where we can be. You know what I'm saying? It's home. It's literally home. It's our place. And it's from everything under the sun that we talk about. Everything. From finances and dreams to freaking your boyfriend dumped you. You know what I'm saying? And you're having a hard time. Anything. It's literally anything. And it's not just for women. It's for men, women, them, they. It's for everybody. It's for everybody. It's literally a place for humans. It's all of us. And I would love for y'all to join if you are interested. So check that out. And if not with the Soul Society and other Solcialites, share it with yourself or with someone that you trust, the family member. Take a look at yourself in the mirror. This is another exercise. Take a look at yourself in the mirror and look at everything that you dislike about yourself and then compliment it. Genuinely, don't make up like lies to yourself. You don't have to lie to yourself. Genuinely compliment it. Find something that you like about it. So for instance, me, I dislike my saggy butt and my dimples in the side of my leg. But something that I do like about it is that my legs are like super thick and delicious, and they're so yummy. And my saggy butt is still like hella fat, and it's like super jiggly and juicy. So it's like I dislike it, but I also like it. I feel like we have that with everything. So try and find some flaws and faults in yourself in the mirror physically that you like and dislike. And then do the same thing, but to your personality. Look in the mirror at your soul and ask yourself, what are some things that I like about myself? And then ask yourself, what are some things that I dislike about myself? And not in a critical way. Why do you dislike those things? And understand yourself about why you do those things. I don't like that I allow people or put people in positions to break my boundaries. But I do like the fact that I give people an opportunity to show their true colors. But I dislike that I still allow those people to stay in my life. And I understand that I do those things because I want someone to love me and respect me without me having to ask. Because I want to know that somebody cares about me just because they care about me. You know what I'm saying? They just know. I don't have to tell them. I don't have to explain to them. And I know it's this mind reader thing, but I feel like I do it because it would be nice to have somebody that really felt like home. Because I've never had somebody that really felt like home. Somebody that made me feel like I was seen, like I was understood without even having to say anything. Like they just got me, like we just belong together. You know what I mean? So I don't like that I do that. I don't like that I put myself in those positions. But I understand that I do it because I really want that. And I accept myself as I am. And I accept the fact that I need to change it because I'm not comfortable with allowing people to potentially hurt me anymore. I want to grow from that. Those are some of the exercises that I came up with. Some affirmations, of course, would be great as well. Just looking in the mirror, saying, I am not perfect. And that is absolutely amazing. I am growing. I love myself despite not being perfect. And that's cool. I don't know. I'm all over the place with these affirmations. I wrote them down, but I'm not reading them anymore. I'm just talking. If you have any affirmations that may be good for perfectionist people, could you comment them down below in the comments? And maybe even share your experience as a perfectionist and some things that you really want to change about yourself, but you accept of yourself. And if you don't feel comfortable doing it in the comments, you know where a great place would be to comment some of your perfectionist flaws that you wish you didn't have, but you're going to try and accept because you want to acknowledge that you have flaws. With the Soul Society. That's right. You should have known I was gonna say it. Come to the Soul Society, and we are going to be there for each other. Actually, I'm going to start blogging on the Soul Society website instead of doing it on Twitter. So if you want to keep up to date with me, become a Solcialite. Not everybody is allowed to be a Solcialite, so don't worry about it. Like, that's what I'm saying. I let the process be done within about 24 hours. I have conversations with people. I talk to them. I really want to make it a safe space for us and our people in our home. I don't want to allow just anybody in because of that reason. We are exclusive because of that reason. It is a place for all humans, but understand that it is a place for humans that embrace the fact that we are human and that we do have flaws. Any and every flaw. Even if people disagree with you, they should not undermine you as a person. They should not reject you as a person. I definitely very heavily believe in the Bible verse, shame the sin, not the sinner, or something like that. I just know the concept. I definitely agree with that, and I definitely believe in that. We are not the things that we do. We are the people at our heart. Everybody is different. Everybody is different. And no sin is greater than the other, and I hella believe in that as well. No sin is greater than the other. Anything that you're doing, nobody can say that the things that they're doing is, it's not as bad. It's only perception. It's only right or wrong. And I really want to make a space that we can all just feel accepted, regardless if we don't agree with each other. It's always going to be love. Always. It was good getting to talk to you guys and getting to speak to y'all. I really appreciate everyone. Peace, light, and love.